This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to have a lot of bad days. It doesn't mean something's wrong with you. You just need some support. Visit betterhelp.com/allies and let's figure out how to take care of you.
Hello, and welcome to the Easy Allies podcast. Shot here, Thursday nights in Los Angeles, California.
I don't know what this is, but I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's like radio energy.
I'm your moderator, Daniel Bloodworth, and I'm joined by Michael Huber.
Greetings, listeners.
And Ben Moore.
Konnichiwa.
And in the control room, Isla Hink and Don Casanova.
Hello. Don's waving hello.
Distinguished guests, we're here to discuss some of the biggest headlines in video games this week.
This energy is throwing me for a loop.
We're going to
Late night radio blood.
mellow podcast today.
But before we do that, we must answer for the mistakes we made in the last episode. Isla, begin corrections music, please.
Boop. Oh, it didn't work.
Who messed up?
Hang on.
Yeah, the light.
Leave it in.
Leave it in.
Why did the light software go away? Leave this in, Don. This is all part of it. Okay. There we go. Except I'm on me, so they didn't get to see my beautiful lighting transition. You saw a different transition. Okay, boop.
When talking about classic Sonic games getting delisted, I complained that Sonic Origins should include the original emulated versions of the games as well. It does.
Oh, nice.
Or at least something close, as there is a classic mode which features, quote-unquote, the game's original resolution and limited lives.
Okay.
Sweet.
So we'll have to see how close it is, but it sounds like it's the original version. I was looking at Disney Dreamlight Valley screenshots and said that one of them looked like Pirates of the Caribbean mixed with Little Mermaid. The person I was referring to is totally just Prince Elric. No crossover implied whatsoever. The costume threw me off. I don't know why.
Who's Prince Elric?
That?
That's from Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
That's the prince.
So it's a crossover between Little Mermaid and Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no crossover.
I'm not the Disney lore guy.
Yeah. I probably haven't seen Little Mermaid since
yeah.
I was a teenager.
Yeah, it's been...
I've gone on the ride.
I've gone on the ride recently.
More than seeing the movie, and the ride story is drastically shortened.
Such good music.
Yeah.
That movie.
Short
One of the best.
wait on that ride, which is nice.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very
Oh, yeah.
casual jump on, jump off.
And not exactly a correction, but several people spoke up to say that Yuji Naka has a reputation for being hard to work with. So as we were thinking, his dismissal by Square Enix could very well be justified depending on how he presented said feedback to Arzest.
I feel like we said exactly this.
Yeah, I think some people are just,
Okay.
joining in and saying like,
Gotcha.
there's
Reaffirming.
There's more there, yeah.
Vin Diesel situation.
Yeah.
It
Dude,
is hard
what's
to
the
work with?
deal?
Well, the director, I don't gossip, but the director said they left because of Vin Diesel now.
Did I ever tell you
Don't
my...
know.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sophia would want me to tell you her Vin Diesel story.
Probably not.
Nothing weird. Just, yeah.
If you have a correction, leave it in the YouTube comments, starting with the word correction, and put a timestamp there so we know what thing you're correcting. And you can use either the Patreon version or the public version to put those comments in, and I will find them.
Hey, I think we did a pretty good job. Those are some light
Not
corrections.
me, but
Very light.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very light.
Corrections coming in live from our behind... Oh, hey,
Here
now.
we go.
Coming in live from our behind-the-scenes chat here. It's Prince Eric.
Eric, not Elric.
Isn't
Why
that
did I say
what
Prince
Elric?
Eric from Little
Isn't that what it said?
Mermaid. He said Elric.
I think whatever. Typo somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, and corrections
DLG.
music.
Oh, yeah. Boop.
So it's Prince Eric.
Yeah.
Prince Eric.
Elric is Full Metal Alchemist. There's a crossover.
Googling Prince Elric. It's Prince Elric.
Elric
of
Dragon Quest?
Melnibone?
Isn't there a Dragon Quest Elric?
Fictional character. Dragon Quest?
You're
Elric?
thinking of Dragon Quest.
Maybe not.
Are you thinking of
Elric.
Erdwick?
Yeah, where the hell is
Erdrick is Dragon Quest, yeah.
Yeah.
What is Elric from?
I had a friend named
That's
Elric.
what I'm
We
saying,
made a
Full Metal
movie together.
Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah.
That's it.
Alphonse.
Alphonse. I watched some Brotherhood. I didn't finish though.
Oh man,
840.
it like made me, the end.
know,
oh
I know.
boy,
I loved what I
got me in
saw.
tears.
I know.
Like actually,
Chad is
yeah.
saying that that's Elrond. No,
What?
Elrond is Lord of
that's
the Rings.
Lord of the
Elrond.
Rings.
Oh my God.
8:55 now.
This is a troll.
Oh boy, just Disney.
I
Wikipedia
don't
is a
think,
Little
you
Mermaid.
know what? I think next week is going to be worse for corrections. That's going to be my prediction.
Blood put us on this train when he started weird like NPR energy. We're
But yeah,
spinning
you're
out
thinking
now.
Dragon Quest 1.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
9:15.
We got to move on.
We gotta move on.
We got to
here.
move on.
Wild, unexpected news. Square Enix is getting rid of Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, selling them to the Embracer Group for $300 million, including Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, as well as the IP for Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Legacy of Kain, and then more than 50 back catalog games, which are unspecified.
That they've been doing so much with the Legacy of Kain IP, so it's really crazy to see that interrupted.
There was, remember that they had that, there's like
Oh,
canceled
yes.
footage and stuff that came out?
I think we were talking
a few
about
years back.
Nosgoth, but
Nosgoth, yeah.
Nosgoth, no.
Square Enix plans to spend the money on blockchain, AI, and the cloud.
Very cool. Hello, fellow kids. God damn it.
I mean, I'm sure there's some R&D to be done, but it's a weird trade-off there.
Yeah.
Weird way of justifying that trade-off.
Conflicting
Just say-
reports. I don't know if you saw the Washington Journal, the NFT article. It's conflicted, but there was just an article from the Washington Post about NFT sales are down this year 92% versus last year. Or
Yeah, they
whatever.
like.
Oh, yeah.
But then,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
the crypto bros came in and were like, "No, there's this data." But it
That's-
was interesting from the Washington Post.
Sales start to slow down when people wake up to the scam.
There's no official words so far that I've seen, but it doesn't seem likely that this would include Sleeping Dogs. Square Enix is still publishing other Western games.
Weren't they supposed to be making a Sleeping Dogs movie?
With Donnie Yen, yeah,
Oh,
it was
who knows?
attached, loosely attached. Yes.
Western franchises that Square Enix will still be in charge of include Life is Strange, Outriders, and Just Cause.
Interesting.
They just previewed Outriders World Slayer. It's a
That's right.
big expansion.
I like Outriders. Maybe I'll hop in for that.
Yeah. And then the initiative confirmed that Crystal Dynamics will continue to work on Perfect Dark. So yeah, just some initial thoughts until we get into some other nitty-gritty stuff.
When I was reading about this, just skimming through the article, it seems like Embracer Group also owns Gearbox as well.
Yeah, I think Gearbox is fairly recent. Yeah.
Yeah, they're collecting a lot of things. I mean, this is pretty big, but also if you look at sort of the Square Enix response of we have been disappointed in the sales of these Western properties.
Right.
Yeah.
The writing I think is kind of on the wall, and it never seemed like a good relationship from the outset, really. If expectations were so high and continuously not met.
Well, it's weird because when you say from the outset, right? I look back at
The outset is a wrong
the
way of
Tomb Raider
saying
reboot and Deus Ex: Human Revolution.
Those are the best ones.
Those feel like they were great. They nailed it. They let those companies do what they
Yeah.
wanted to do.
Yep.
And then from there, it's
Yeah.
like they wanted to manage them and like, okay, now
Mm-hmm.
we've got these great big brands. Let's make Call of Duty out of them.
Yeah, I guess not from the outset. That is incorrect. For a long time
Yeah.
now, I feel like things have kind of been out of sync. But obviously, particularly within the gaming sphere, those are, pretty huge consequential names. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Like, I don't know anything about Embracer Group, so I don't know
So funny.
how they would want to
Right.
shepherd any of these things.
Yeah,
Shout
we'll
out
get to
to-
that a little bit. But yeah,
Shout out to Bossman for keeping tabs on Embracer Group for like 5 years, just like this shadowy organization, Akatsuki like vibes. I think this is a good time for this because the Tomb Raider trilogy just ended and Deus Ex was like on hiatus. So I think changing hands here it's a good time. It's a good time for it because now we can get kind of this new beginning with it. It's not like they're coming in mid-trilogy, all these big shakeups.
Well, Deus Ex is kind of mid-trilogy, but yeah.
For sure, but it feels like if Deus Ex comes back, they can take it in numerous directions. We could continue with Jensen. We could remake the first one. We could do another spinoff with different characters. It feels like a good time to kind of take stock of each of those franchises and then plan where they're going to go.
I see what you're saying, and I think the one property where I don't see that working is Tomb Raider, right? Because I feel like the reboot trilogy was such a we are starting over, here's the beginning of her story, that if you just did that again, if they were we're starting from slate zero with Lara, I would be like, I don't care. Like, you just did that. You mined that so heavily that's not a direction I would go. I could
soft reboot,
but I think that they already. I think though they already have the plan because they've been talking about Tomb Raider the past couple of months.
Yeah, I could be interested in a remake, possibly, or like I wonder. It would be interesting to do like maybe even like this is maybe too wild maybe, but like a Sonic Mania style where it's like we're gonna take from all the different eras of Tomb Raider and try to make a new thing. But yeah, like a sequel reboot or something. Like, I don't know. It does need a new direction.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't like if the premise is we're gonna show you how she becomes the Tomb Raider. I'm out. Like I get it.
It's funny that you bring that up because I actually had tagged on like almost like a bonus love and respect question is because somebody was asking like, what if they essentially did a remake of the original Tomb Raider? Like not even going to the remake, reboot, not being part of like the continuing story or canon, but just like Resident Evil style. Like bring that back and just make it modern.
They're so trendy right now. I would not be surprised.
Resident Evil is a really interesting comparison because, like the Resident Evil 2 remake completely changes how that game plays. And that is the kind of the level I think that you would need to go to because the original Tomb Raider is completely designed around how it controls, whether you like that or not. Like, you can't just like have those levels with a new control scheme. You'd have to completely change the whole thing. But that could be really interesting. And honestly, like just straight up, don't try to do Uncharted again, please. Like that would be my biggest thing. Is if you could kind of get away from like this automatic climbing, like it takes care of itself, quick time event sort of stuff. Like make platforming risky and dangerous and fun again. If you could do that, that probably doesn't have a wide enough appeal, I guess, but
yeah, because I like all what sets it apart, all the crafting and like the tombs and stuff. Like that stuff is good. When I start comparing the gunplay to Uncharted, that's when I'm just like, I shouldn't do this because it's, that's not my favorite parts of Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I feel like like you're saying that like the actual tombs were the best part of that, and then sometimes the way that they connected, the way that they would, you would get a new device and then like that would allow you to trek back a little bit in cool ways. But yeah, there was just something like as the series went on, it just became sort of harder to stay invested in.
I like the first one the most, for sure, out of the three. And Blood, I know you're familiar with good old Breach mode and that whole Mankind Divided controversy. Honestly, like with how all of that played out, Mankind Divided, and the aftermath of that all, like this is good news for Deus Ex, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, because those are the two things to me that are like emblematic of the Square Enix or whoever management level things just interfering was Tomb Raider having multiplayer that nobody cared about.
Yeah.
Just who knows how much money that sucked up.
Wasn't there like a weird like time trial one too? Some time trial mode or something?
That had completely exited my brain.
Exactly.
Same.
It was
I don't know if I ever knew that it was
insignificant. And then, the breach mode, as well as all the other marketing stuff that they just totally
Pre-order
killed
nonsense.
Mankind Divided.
Yeah.
People didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Truly, yeah. And then the ending, of course, the game it felt unfinished to me.
Well, yeah, and that was the other thing. It's like, oh, we're going to set up, so we're going to put one out every year, and it'll just have this train of money rolling along. Again, like basically the Call of Duty-ifying these franchises that wasn't going to work.
Sad.
Not to keep going back to Tomb Raider, but something else that I would really like to see is, like, if you go back to that original game, it's so campy and fun. Like, it's just, it kind of really embraces its own ridiculousness and sort of treats Lara like this kind of comic book character. You know, she's this gun-toting, sunglass-wielding bad. Like, it's a fun, silly adventure. And the reboots were so serious, and I feel like a lot when you have sort of an action platformer now, not even that it's bad, but like they're all just so fucking serious. Like they're all trying to be these deep dramas, and I think there is room to like ease up a little bit, like just have some fun with it.
Yeah, because like, it's debatable, you know. People will say like, oh, I like, you know, Shadow the most or Rise the most or the first one most. And for me, I'm coming at it like, all right, maybe in an isolated chamber, you know, maybe number 2 or 3 is better than 1, but like exactly like you're talking about, Ben, by the time I get there, it's just like, I'm tired of this, you know? By the time I get to the third game, it's like, yo, I'm tired of this tone. I'm tired of this story kind of. And it just...
To me, it's not even necessarily about like how it being serious. It's this sense of like you're having to like live through this like trauma. You know, like you're having to endure like all of these like painful events and things like that, and you know, and just suffering, just watching Lara suffer through 3 games.
Yeah, it's just like just make the act of exploring a tomb exciting enough on its own. Like you don't. Do you always need, with all of these properties, the emotional trauma along with them? I don't think so.
Yeah. Now the one, you know, saying good news for Deus Ex, and then get going with that, but bad or unknown news for Guardians of the Galaxy, which
unknown, honestly unknown.
Yeah, because that kind of got a similar thing with them, right? It's like they made a really great game.
Yeah.
It didn't get pushed well. Thankfully, there didn't seem to be like any kind of meddling in the same way. It's like, no, they got to make a good game and put it out there. But because people didn't know what to think of it, people didn't know what to make of it, then it really wasn't until like after launch that it started picking up. When it started getting awards and all this.
Mouth.
And the word of mouth started pushing it.
Yeah.
But, you know, Square Enix made that deal with Marvel and Disney. And, you know, unless it's similar to, you know, what Crystal Dynamics is doing with the initiative and like, okay, you know, Eidos Montreal is owned by the Embracer Group, but they're still going to make this project with Square Enix or something like that. It doesn't seem very hopeful.
I hope
Guardians would stay with them. I don't know.
After so much Marvel content, this game still had so much heart, so much passion poured into it. This is like, it's just such a feel-good game, and that would be just like one of gaming's tragedies if we don't get a follow-up to this, because that game is just so good and so awesome.
Yeah.
What a shame that it came out in like the super lull between Guardians related things, right? Because like even in the new Thor, the Guardians are going to be part of it, right? And so like it feels like if maybe it could have come out at a time where like there was Guardians 3 or just something to help it as well. I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange because it's sort of, you know, that's like one of the difficulties that it has, right? That it's like, it's this comparison because most people only know of Guardians because of the MCU. And so it's like, okay, well, this is different and the colors seem off and all of that at first glance.
Yeah.
And then playing that game, it's like being introduced to them for the first time.
Yeah.
Like just so much other stuff that the movies doesn't have time to get to. Cosmo.
Yeah, it's just jolly. Just a feel-good, jolly game.
And just so well written.
So well written.
The biggest
well
strength.
acted.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have no idea what's going to happen. I think one thing we haven't fully touched on is the price tag. I know a lot of the sentiment out there is that this was a steal.
Yeah, they're just giving this away, yeah.
You're looking at billion-dollar deals for Bungie and stuff for Destiny, and now this is gaming royalty, you know? Tomb Raider, legendary. Like, Deus Ex, hugely celebrated, maybe not the biggest franchise ever, but, like, still, like, gaming history. For $300 million total to go in to get like liquid to invest in blockchain, like,
well, that's
I
think that really points to the sad state of affairs. Is you're talking about cultural significance that doesn't necessarily translate to dollar value, and it is just the way I think this industry is going and the way these properties are being evaluated. They're not being evaluated in terms of like cultural significance. They're being evaluated in terms of like continuous revenue, right?
Yeah.
Destiny is continuous revenue.
Prince money.
Right.
Prince money.
Right.
Yeah.
And just, it's like, how long can we squeeze this fruit is, I think, kind of the overriding sentiment.
Well, and I think too with Destiny, it's you know, it sort of goes along with what you're saying with what Square Enix is using the money for. It's like Sony is investing in Bungie because not just Destiny, but what can Bungie's team and talent bring to the other things that we want to do to continue the live service train, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's a great call. Yeah, because the Deus Ex and Tomb Raider come out and it's done, you know?
Yeah.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it's like, what was that budget? That budget has actually been revealed. It's like 80-something million, I think, for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, something like that.
A continuous live service Tomb Raider sounds like the worst possible thing. Oh my god.
Yeah, no thank you.
So you were asking about what's Embracer Group have. I was looking them up. They say they have like 10 operative groups, 124 studios.
They could honestly make their own console with exclusive games.
And just some names to throw out there, 'cause I didn't write down everything, obviously.
Where did Embracer come from?
I'd have to dig into that a little bit more.
The Illuminati?
But
110 million for
I want to say yes. But they have THQ Nordic. They've recently gotten Gearbox. They have Saber Interactive, Coffee Stain, which wasn't too long ago. Deep Silver, which I think was one of the earliest ones.
Yeah.
Flying Wild Hog, Prime Matter, which they sort of like created like in the last year or two, and then put a whole bunch of things under that. Warhorse, Milestone, who does like all of those motorbike games and the Hot Wheels game.
Is Warhorse Kingdom come?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3D Realms was fairly recent.
3D Realms, I missed that one. Wow.
Yeah. Aspire, who've been doing all those Star Wars ports and who are working on the KOTOR remake.
Okay.
Zen Studios, who I think is the one that does all the pinball games. Bugbear Entertainment, who does Wreckfest. Gunfire Games. Rainbow Studios, who does MX vs. ATV.
Gunfire, is that like Darksiders?
I think they did the Darksiders.
The like Genesis one, right?
Yeah, I think that was it. And then they also have Dark Horse Media now, Dark Horse Comics and that stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then, like I said, there's a lot of other like individual studios, within all of that. So, yeah, they are just embracing as much as they can. Especially with all those THQ franchises and stuff. Like, there's a lot there.
I looked into its origins, if you want.
Oh, yeah, great.
This arms race just is not stopping. Like, everything is going to get sucked up until there's only a handful left. It is out of control.
Yeah.
Okay, so origins. Cursory look, so this won't be exhaustive, but Embracer Group AB, formerly Nordic Games Licensing AB.
Nordic Games, okay.
And THQ Nordic AB is a Swedish video game company and media holding company based out of Karlstad. The company was established under the name Nordic Games Licensing in 2011 as part of Nordic Games Group and as the parent of publisher Nordic Games GmbH. So basically after they acquired THQ, they were calling themselves that, and THQ Nordic AB specifically, but then they renamed it Embracer Group to avoid confusion with THQ Nordic, which is part of them also, but
Right.
makes games or whatever.
Got it.
Yeah. Which I think, honestly, if I'm thinking it through, might have been a mistake, because now everyone's like, Embracer Group, where'd they come from? They're evil. Whereas like THQ Nordic, I'm like, oh, it's THQ Nordic. Okay, yeah. You know, even though it's like, you know, I don't know, it's funny.
But yeah, so what's interesting is like when you look at all of those different companies and studios and things, it does sort of feel like they're all doing their own thing.
Yeah, there's not a through line there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, what do you make of that? There's Embracer Group just wanting to own more, and then they're just
I mean,
like, all right,
they're
we'll
investing
do
in what they want to invest in,
yeah.
you know, like, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, but you know, they also, you know, helped out with the Shenmue 3, you know, so it looks like, and Coffee Stain's another good example of like, yeah, kind of, you know, smaller indie kind of things, but like, hey, we like this, put it in there.
Yeah, I feel like among a decent number of those names, you do have valuable properties, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
Gearbox. I mean, that's a
right.
huge
Yeah,
one.
Gearbox is huge, yeah.
Yeah.
All the THQ stuff is huge.
Yeah, Crystal Dynamics. That's huge.
So, yeah.
I wonder if they will go down like the remake remaster route with some of
Quick
those.
payday, you know, recoup some losses.
I
It
think-
makes
I think
so
they-
much sense to get Deus Ex in people's hands again, whether that's a remaster or like remaking the first one. Definitely. I think remasters are
They've done a good job of
primed.
keeping that available, at least on PC.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And playable.
But I mean, I can imagine there would be a good amount of fanfare if they're just like, yep, we're putting all the Legacy of Kain games out.
Oh my
On
god,
Switch or
that
whatever.
would be
Yeah.
Yo, dude,
huge.
yeah.
Right, so it's like that,
Huge.
and that seems like an easy payday.
Yeah.
That's your 300 million right there.
Yeah. So then the next thing I was trying to look into,
Day one
and this
purchase.
is difficult, was trying to figure out what are these 50 back catalog games. I've got no idea. So I'm looking at stuff that Crystal Dynamics and Eidos have in their back catalog. A lot of the stuff that they published were like ports of things to like PC and stuff. So like stuff that's listed under them, like Final Fantasy VII's in there, Dragon Warrior Monsters in there, Power Stone is in there. It's like they don't own these games.
Power Stone
Yeah.
is in there.
But they just published it somewhere.
You said
know?
Dragon Warrior Monsters, which that was a very long time ago.
Yeah, same with
So
Power
it's
Stone. Holy
so
moly.
so like each. So I've got some of the bigger
Wait,
ones that I pulled out of there, but
Please don't move on. What can be done with Power Stone? Can they do anything?
no,
with
it's
it?
Capcom's game. That's
it's
why I'm
Capcom's
saying
game.
that they don't have anything.
Just want to
do
make
with
sure.
It.
I just want before I move on.
But there's a lot
I
of these that are like that, to where like I don't know if they can do anything here. Like Gex, I think is probably theirs. I think it's probably one of theirs that they can probably do something
Gex
with.
is everyone's.
Pandemonium, I would not have known about
Public
if it weren't for
domain.
Don Casanova.
Gex should be public domain.
Don just began screaming wildly. He's like,
Yikes!
Thief.
no,
we-
but Pandemonium.
Oh, Pandemonium.
Thief is one that we could probably get because they did that. They did that new Thief game a couple years ago. That wasn't
Thief with
great.
It's not
Guns.com.
great. It's not great. It's not great.
Gloomwood when?
It's not great.
Yeah. Commandos
remember
was
it
listed
being
under there.
really
Weren't you a
bland.
Commandos fan,
Very
Hubert?
bland. Love Commandos.
Yeah. I don't know if it's theirs or not, but it's listed as something that they published.
Sick. That was Eidos.
Yeah.
That was Eidos back in the day. Yeah.
Daikatana was in there.
Oh my god.
Nice.
EOE, Eve of Extinction, Trash
Oh,
Babies.
Trash Babies! Check out Trash Babies!
Fear Effect was in there,
Oh, dude.
but I don't know that they have anything to do with Fear Effect.
Sexual Awakening, Bloodworth.
Kane and Lynch, but that was an IO Interactive game.
and
So do they have Kane and Lynch, or does IO have Kane and Lynch?
Isla?
IO Interactive
Oh.
Hitman.
I was like, I definitely don't have Kane and Lynch Bloodworth.
The first thing that comes to my mind with Kane and Lynch is them being like naked, strapped to chairs
Every time.
Sexual
An
Awakening.
entire level where you're escaping naked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of naked, Pocket Pool was in there. They had something to do with that.
What is Pocket?
Bloodworth?
I had to review that game at Game Trailers.
That's a PSP
I bet
game,
you
right?
reviewed
It was
that
a
game,
PSP
Bloodworth.
game where you played pool and then unlocked like scandalous photographs by playing
Sexual
They
pool
should bring that back out.
and
Yeah.
video. And it was
be a
like,
boon.
What do you mean you had
It
to
wa-
review this?
I
You
had to
got,
review
you
this. It
got
was
to
a s-
review this.
We got to track this review now.
here's the thing. Even if this was a concept that you wanted, it was bad at everything it was trying to do. You had a pool game that played worse than any other pool game, like even like free shareware pool games out there. And then you would have to play like hundreds of games of pool to like unlock anything. Anyways, it was terrible. I think Stephanie actually, she was the one that cut that.
This was at Game Trailers?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I don't know if it still exists out there, but oh my gosh, it was that was an adventure. I remember even because we had like the PSP capture unit and then like the TV.
Yeah.
And like somebody came by and was like, "You have to turn the TV off, please,"
because it was like
there's people walking by. We're seeing.
Oh my god.
Pocket Pool, 33 from Game Trailers on Metacritic.
Yeah.
Pocket Pool is just another miserable attempt at using sex to sell a terrible game. While there aren't many billiard options for the PSP, pool fans should look elsewhere and avoid the embarrassment of their girlfriend catching them playing with it. Bloodworth. Oh, I love that.
And then there's Project Snowblind, which was that weird game we pulled it up in the Deus Ex retrospective. It was like started as sort of a Deus Ex game, and then they changed it to its own thing. Yeah. And then the last one I wrote down was Time Splitters, which no, like Crytek has Time Splitters now.
Yeah.
So what the 50 back catalog games are, very unclear to me. What is going to come out of this that's going to be worthwhile other than Tomb Raider and Deus Ex and Legacy of Kain? I don't know. Maybe Gex.
I'll take a Power Stone remaster right now.
You got to get Capcom.
Yeah.
Sign
You got to
me
get Capcom on that.
Who did Bushido Blade? I want more of that.
That was Square.
Yeah. I don't know if that was in-house or if that was like Acquire or something, but not sure.
It might be. Look that up.
Well, Embracer Group, probably not done.
Yeah. And then we've got
sounds right, but it could
Square
be.
Enix Montreal, who've done like Lara Croft Go and Hitman Go, and like actually games
Solid.
that I've enjoyed, like
Yeah.
solid games.
Developed by Lightweight and Square? Bushido Blade?
Lightweight. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
don't know
familiar
who
with
that
Neither
Lightweight.
am I. I feel like
Bursala
with
Lightweight?
Tomb Raider Go and Hitman Go, I like the concept, but after a while, I'm just like, okay, I'm over this. Like it goes from like it's weird. It's like it goes from fun to tedious with like no in between with me.
Yeah.
I get burned out on those games.
Totally.
Yeah, to me, they're just weird. They're weird because they like work and sort of don't work in the mobile market because like they're good, like one hit, get your fixed games and you're done. But like the mobile market is just not about that. But I like those little games that I actually end up playing are like Lara Croft Go, yeah.
And the top-down one, like Curse of Osiris, right?
Yeah.
Those were there were two of them, right?
Yeah, the co-op ones, yeah.
So good. So.
But I don't know if Square Enix Montreal made that or Crystal Dynamics made that.
Okay, because that could be a cheaper way
Right.
to bring Tomb Raider back, and those are awesome games. I mean, that'd be a nice first step of like, hey, new Tomb Raider, but it's
Yeah.
the
I
top-down
wonder-
ones.
I wonder how much of a splash that would make.
Oh, just to have another one of
Yeah.
the top-down ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I mean, we do know for sure that like AAA Tomb Raider is on the way. They in the Unreal press conference
I am
a couple months ago or weeks
so
ago.
interested to see what direction
Same.
new AAA Tomb Raider takes.
Yeah.
Very, very curious.
Same.
But for Square Enix Montreal, they're going to need a new name. And when I was there, at least they were in the same building as Eidos Montreal. So call it like Eidos Go or something.
Eidos Go, I like that.
At least if they're going to
actually.
keep making mobile games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. Eidos Go.
But yeah, any other thoughts on this craziness before we move on?
Watch out, Ubisoft. Embracer Group's coming for you.
It feels like we're in a.
They're shoring up. They're trying to make sure they don't get bought.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I love how long people have been trying to hostile take over Ubisoft.
Yeah.
It's like
And now the family's like, we gotta buy more. Make sure they don't do it.
so wild. It's like Succession over there.
Yeah.
I feel like we're in still in sort of this transition period where I think like this generation is still very much trying to define itself. I definitely think like Elden Ring is going to be a game that is brought up a lot when discussing this generation, but I don't think we've had like a ton of those experiences yet. And so it just feels like the pieces are being shuffled around right now, right? Like the board is still being set up. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting next couple of years, I think.
Yeah. Ben.
Yes.
Last week we were excited about a teaser for
I don't know if
Warcraft.
I would say excited. Interesting.
You were pretty
I was
vocal,
curious.
yeah, when it popped up.
Yeah, I wanted to know.
And
That's
the
definitely
email
true.
that they sent you to tease this
Right.
said that, we're going to be taking our Warcraft adventures on the go.
Yeah.
It was not that.
This was utterly depressing. Did you watch the full?
I did watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an interesting choice on how they did that video.
Interesting is generous.
So they did a 10-minute
Jesus.
video where they introduced the game. This Warcraft Arclight Rumble is an action-packed mobile strategy game where you collect over 60 characters from across the Warcraft universe, brought to life as lovingly sculpted tabletop miniatures, and triumph through an epic single-player campaign with over 70 missions, tackle cooperative missions with friends, and test their armies in a competitive player versus player mode. But yeah, so yeah, we've got some gameplay rolling here too. But the thing that struck me about the presentation, which is different than just the straight gameplay, is that they were just making fun of their. It was like a blooper reel through the whole video. It was strange.
So
they had a chaos count for every time that they said chaos.
it has been a number of years since I've watched any sort of Hearthstone presentation, but Hearthstone presentations used to have this problem where they were trying so hard it was painful. And I get that they're trying to be fun, but they are trying so hard and are so on the nose with everything that it actually completely backfires and feels entirely disingenuous. I said this, I was physically cringing watching it, and it was just it made I don't think the gameplay speaks highly on its own, right? We can get into that, but the presentation just made it even worse, where it felt so awkward and just I don't want to be a part of this.
Yeah. Well, I felt like they were kind of distracting you from the game, because they would start explaining how the gameplay works, and then they would, again, the chaos counter would pop up, or they're ooh, shinies, and things like that. And it's wait, I almost understood what this is, and now you've broken that train of thought.
In the presentation, because they're we're going to play a game for you, and they're oh, this guy designed the map, and then he loses on his own map, and they just kept it in the edit. And it's you think that this is funny and cute, but it's just kind of embarrassing and awkward. It doesn't really illustrate, I think, what you're trying to talk about. Because then they just roll from that into another rematch. Here we go again. And it was so strange. But the reason I wanted to talk about this, no one wants this. I don't think anyone wants this.
This was this was conceived in a boardroom.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what it reeks of. And I think it's important to note that, because of in stark comparison to Blizzard's legacy, right? So Blizzard, not all that long ago, games from Blizzard would be few and far between, but when they revealed themselves, it was an earth-shattering effect. You felt the excitement around the industry, and you would take a look at something, whether it was these hype trailers, and you'd be holy shit, I cannot believe how good that looks. Yeah. I can't wait to play that thing. And you felt hopefully all the time you've been waiting had been something. Regardless, the point that I'm trying to say is that Blizzard games felt like they were exciting, and they felt very distinct, right? And they felt like game festivals in their own right. And if you were to show me just the gameplay, right, with no branding or logos or anything, right, just kind of that zoomed out minion-based tower defense gameplay, I could not tell you that this was Warcraft. And this certainly doesn't look, industry shattering, or like they're really trying to push the boundaries, or they're like super obsessed with quality. I don't get any of those things. This is just run of the mill mobile game number 897, it's just nothing, right? Like,
because even at best case scenario, you're like, it could be fun, or like, oh yeah, sure, maybe it's on your phone, boot it up, oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
But like, that's best case scenario. I really think you nailed it when you're like, nobody wants this. Like, who is going to sleep and like dreaming about playing this exact game?
It's tonally so weird too, because like the jokes make it seem like a game aimed at kids. The shots and like the girl with the pink gun and stuff make it be like, okay, you're trying to ape like Jinx from League of Legends. You're trying to like Me Too on Riot or something. Not that Me Too, but like Me Also. And then like, but using Ballroom Blitz is like, okay, so this is for 50-year-olds. It's like, what are we doing? It's like, who's this for? Who wants this? Yeah.
And maybe I could be more lenient if I felt like the Warcraft brand was like at the top of its game, right? And like, WoW was like absolutely crushing it, and maybe the next WoW expansion will be good. I don't know. I don't really care, but I think that's kind of the point I'm trying to get at, is I feel like WoW has just been in this like mass exodus. Everybody's unhappy, has been unhappy for a long time, right? And so for like this to be the next Warcraft game, it's
depressing,
just,
like you said earlier.
Yeah, it's depressing. I mean, like, it sounds like hyperbole, but it's really true. I mean, those foundational Blizzard games, the core ones, like, they changed people's lives. Like, they were industry warping games.
Yeah,
I mean,
I totally remember like roommates being obsessed with Warcraft 3 when it came out.
Oh my God.
Everybody
Warcraft 2, dude.
our age has has their own version of some sort of Blizzard game, affecting them that much. And Huber, you hit the nail on the head. It's like, best case scenario is when I'm waiting to get a haircut, I might boot this up. And it's like,
oh, cool.
That's such a far cry from like the glory days where like, I don't know, I feel like this kind of thing would have never have happened.
And Ben, you nailed it on the head, because context here is so crucial. Not only Blizzard's legacy, but what's happening at Blizzard now doesn't allow me to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to be even more harsh because of all the problematic shit going down at that company. If like From Software comes out and they're like, yo, we're doing a mobile thing, like a mobile Dark Souls, it's like, all right, you've given me so much, you're the best, like, let's try it out.
Right,
sure.
yeah.
But like, after everything that's going down at Blizzard, like, I'm gonna be even more critical and harsh and skeptical.
And it's not just Arclight Rumble, actually. If you would have told me in 2016 that I would be completely apathetic to a sequel to Overwatch, I would have, like, I can't even convince myself to play the beta.
Same.
Like, I had Twitch running in the background to get the key. I got the key, I installed it, and I just don't care enough to play it, because when I watch others play it, it just literally looks like it's so depressing being like, wait a minute, I played on that map 6 years ago. What are you doing? What is going on? Like, it's just the same bullshit. Yeah. Like,
I have a theory, actually. What you were saying made me think of this, right? Because obviously it's not a perfect one-to-one analog because technology moves so quickly, but it makes me think about film, right? It's like, everyone now watching Citizen Kane thinks it's boring because everything that came after Citizen Kane aped from it. And that was 45, 50 years into the life cycle of film, right? And like, Blizzard was so earth-shattering and so groundbreaking for so many people early on. And it's like, they're not growing and changing. Everyone else is taking from them, and they've moved beyond it. And that's why, like, everything they've shown lately feels like it's like from 15 years ago. Because they're still 10 years ago, like, and they're not iterating. It's really kind of interesting. And like, film is kind of, or games are still like not that old a medium,
I don't know. I kind of agree with that, but regardless of how you feel about it now in 2022, it is undeniable that, like, Overwatch was earth-shattering. Like, you played it and you're like,
But it does
this
feel
looks
old now.
Sure, yeah, now
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree, but I'm just saying, like, 2016, they still had it in them. I think the problem, there are many problems at Blizzard, right, which we've discussed on this podcast, but I think it speaks to a wider issue of, like, Final Fantasy XIV is a very old game at this point. Realm Reborn is a very old game, but the way the developers present themselves and the way that they interact with fans clearly and obviously communicates that they care and they want to make them happy.
Yeah. And they're
And
honest.
that's so much more
Right.
fun when you're
But-
a consumer and playing the game. It's like that relationship. I love that.
Right.
I
but-
love
so this,
loving the
I
studio.
think one of the things with the presentation that speaks to this, Ben, is, you know, after that gameplay demo where they show like kind of the single player, like how this works, and they're talking about
Right.
like it being like, you know, it's tower offense, not tower defense, and you know, and like every map is going to be like a little bit of a puzzle, and then they're like, oh, we forgot to talk about PvP. Oh, we forgot to talk about raids, but that was it. We're ending now. Like what? Why did?
Right.
Why did you bring it up and act like you forgot to? You intentionally didn't talk about it, but you said you forgot to talk. Like it was so weird.
But I want to finish this point because their attitude, I think, is we are so good that we will give you what we want to give you when we want to give it to you. And that attitude is fine when you could deliver the best games in the world. I think the only way Blizzard changes is if they like get out there basically on their hands and knees and realize we are not even close to the top dogs anymore. We're just not. We just are not. And until they fully embrace that humility, like nothing is going to change, right? Like not to just go back to Final Fantasy XIV, but that was basically what happened, where it's like, oh my God, we messed up so bad, we are going to completely rebuild this thing. And they have not lost that sense of humility despite players rising and rising and rising and rising. And that game getting, you know, more attention than ever recently, right? And so, like, I don't know. I think if, like... just get over yourselves. I just don't know what else to say.
Right.
That's like what our behind the scenes chat is saying similar things. They're saying, like, Pete says that they're trying to recapture the magic instead of just showing us new magic.
But the magic is gone.
Right.
Like,
they're playing catch up with themselves, and the industry used to play catch up with Blizzard, and now they're trying to play catch up with their past. It's so weird.
Because everything does just feel old. Like World of Warcraft has been going on so long. Overwatch 1 has been going on so long. Hearthstone has been going on so long. Like, you want to boot up StarCraft 2, that's old. You know, there's no support really anymore.
Well,
like, all these things have been going on.
It's like the definition
for so long.
of resting on their laurels.
Yeah.
It's like 14 is the perfect counterpoint, Ben, because it's like they almost make it feel like a collaboration with the player base. Like, because they're so open and they listen. And Blizzard is like in their tower abusing each other and being like, no, we make perfect, beautiful games. And it's like, no, you don't, bro.
I mean, I feel like you can echo this across different Blizzard games just based on what I heard. But like on my own experiences when I was so heavily invested in Hearthstone, you had all these great personalities and content creators who I feel like just kind of like fell away from the game. And there were so many people that would be like, please change this, please fix this, this is annoying. And they just got fed up and they left, right? And you've heard the same thing with Overwatch. Like that game just it took over the world and then died because they couldn't respond. They couldn't figure out how to deal with their own community. And now, like, so many top level talent people have left Blizzard. It just like. It feels like it's in utter shambles.
Yeah.
And with Overwatch 2, it felt like they were more interested in like monetizing Overwatch League and like being the cool kids at the party instead of like making the game better or like changing things and listening to the players. Yeah, they were more just about like, we're gonna build a stadium and do this cool stuff. And it's like, I don't know, maybe like you're putting the cart before the horse a little bit. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Do you think their old model can even survive in today's day and age?
No.
Because they were like, kind of like, hear me out. They were kind of like live service before live service in the sense that like every time they release a game, it's built to last for a really long time. Do you think Blizzard moving forward needs to abandon that approach and just make kick-ass games and sequels at a quicker pace? Or do you think they can still do the old way of like, when World of Warcraft 2 comes out, it's going to be 20 years, or like it's going to be 10 more years before Overwatch 3?
Well, I think the example that you're talking about, right, like World of Warcraft is a great example where there were a bunch of MMOs that came out in the wake of World of Warcraft, and all of them died because they weren't on World of Warcraft's level of quality. And so I think that was ingrained in Blizzard's mind where it's like, we may take forever, we may be slow, but when we do release something, it's going to be the best of the best, which I'm not even sure they're capable of that anymore. But the way the industry has worked, right? So like Diablo 4 is a good example. Path of Exile, you listen to those guys talk, they are directly inspired by Diablo 2. So all the things that Blizzard did in Diablo 2, they're taking those lessons.
And they've gotten some of those guys to help out with some of their stuff too. Yeah.
They're taking all those lessons and putting into the game. And like Path of Exile is this thing that's had this incredibly long, successful life that's been extremely generous to free-to-play players. And it gets new content constantly. So even if, hypothetically, let's say Diablo 4 is, out the gate better than Path of Exile 2. Let's just entertain that thought. I'm not convinced that Blizzard could keep up with grinding gear games like Commitment, like community interaction, and like just updates. Like
they just announced an update today. The Sentinel expansion. Yeah.
I just think they're going to get outpaced, and I think the audience will reflect that. I think the community will reflect that.
Is there anything that you would have, other than like a full WoW mobile, is there anything else that you think that could have actually hit a splash with this week's announcement? Do you think there would have been somehow like a strategy game similar to this that would have worked, or does it just feel like it's just so oversaturated in the market?
Well, this is a good question. I think the reason why I wanted it to be WoW Mobile is because it is so crazy and big that would feel like old Blizzard to me, where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to be into this, but it's like, this feels ambitious. Yeah. I think something like a super story-driven, like turn-based RPG could have been interesting. Like kind of a like really well done Tales from Warcraft could have been cool.
Totally, dude. Totally.
Anything other than this, anything that just didn't seem immediately disposable, I think would have been good. Something that really felt inspired. I can't even put my finger exactly on what that would be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that kind of struck me too is that this whole, part of this presentation, like the cinematic opening and stuff, it's like this whole like game within a game idea. Like she walks up to the machine and puts her quarter in or whatever, and and then they assemble these like figurines, and there's even parts in the cinematic trailer where like they do the gag twice where a guy's arm will pop off.
Yeah.
Because they're just toys.
Yeah.
And I think number one, it's weird because that sense of them looking like toys doesn't come across once you get to gameplay.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it were like Disney Infinity style.
Everything's way too small for you to see that kind of rendering. And then, but I think it also plays to what you're saying, Ben, where it's just like, it makes it feel sort of insignificant. It's like, well, yeah, this is a game within a game. It doesn't matter.
The other thing that I just thought of is these products are really like cannibalizing themselves, because if one of your hooks is like, play with all of these like Warcraft creatures and characters that that are sort of legendary, it's like, you already did that with Hearthstone, and you already did that with Heroes of the Storm. When you're like, play as these iconic characters, you've already done that. Like it means nothing anymore. Like that's not cool or special.
And they already canceled Heroes of the Storm.
Right. So, yeah.
It's upsetting. It's upsetting.
Do you think you will at least check it out and play it, or are you just not into it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I can't even muster enthusiasm for
Overwatch
2. Like,
I
don't even think I'll play Overwatch 2.
I think that's a great...
I have no desire for Blizzard games right now.
I can't even muster... I've forgotten that the Overwatch 2 beta is installed on my computer. Yeah. So I don't know.
No desire.
Maybe out of curiosity I will, but like right now in this moment, I feel nothing but apathy.
If only we had an employee who was into soulless, hyper-repetitive mobile games that you could almost even just auto battle. I don't know.
We should call him.
If we had someone
him on
like
the
that
phone.
around, I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of mobile, Fortnite is back
Crazy.
on iOS and Android.
Yeah, I saw you post that, and I was like, oh.
Not really, but yes, really.
know this.
Effectively for players, it is. But yeah, so basically, what happened? So as you know, the whole giant lawsuit history. Epic played some games to try to, to rig themselves into a lawsuit against Apple. Mm-hmm. They got pulled off of the App Store and the Android store. And then similarly, around the same time, Xbox was trying to get their cloud gaming app onto iOS, and Apple wasn't having it. It's like, oh yeah, this will let people bypass the App Store. We don't want to do that. So they've teamed up now, and Xbox
Alliance.
Cloud Gaming will now allow you to play anywhere because it's browser based. So you just go to xbox.com/play, and there it is.
Wow.
And Fortnite is the first free-to-play game.
So it's a kind of a loophole.
Yeah, it's kind of a loophole, but I don't know that
Backdoor
there's
shady
much
deals.
that Apple could do about
This
it.
is hilarious. I love
Yeah.
it.
Because it's browser-based.
This is prime backdoor shady deals.
I wouldn't put it past Apple to like block that URL or something. Like,
Right.
Straight up.
Yeah, I don't know if they can because, I mean,
goodness.
it's, it works with all the other stuff. Because that's the thing, too, is all the other cloud games until now for Xbox, there was the earlier beta that you had to be, like, in get the invite and everything, too. But now it's been a Game Pass Ultimate feature. But now with Fortnite, this is the first time it's like, nope, free to play. As long as you have a Microsoft account, you can play this game.
Cool. Just more ways for people to play. I'm always down with that.
Yeah.
And I know this has been a huge battle, right? So we're finally maybe nearing the finish line of this.
Yeah, it's going to be
Apple
interesting.
v. Fortnite.
Yeah. What will this will this be the fuel that pushes them to put back on the App Store, or is it just like Epic is like, nope, we don't need you.
Yeah.
So this is what we're gonna do.
I love Microsoft getting involved. Just like quarrel, big time quarrel, rivalry now. It's like, is Apple gonna retaliate somehow? Like I was saying, block that URL or
Yeah.
it's interesting.
I think this is definitely good, and I definitely think I appreciate that this option exists for people, but I have to imagine there is a pretty large contingency of people that are like not on top of gaming news that like the way that they would get Fortnite in their phone is by going to the App Store and typing
Right.
Fortnite.
That's a
Yeah.
great
And
point.
so like that is nothing against Microsoft, but I have to imagine like there's still this huge part of this audience that would love for it to just be back on the App Store.
Totally.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point, and I'm curious how well the cloud gaming works on the phone,
Right.
but it's something that they have been working on a lot, and that was this is actually part of a bigger announcement and just like check in on like how their cloud gaming services are doing, and Fortnite is going to be the first, and they're going to have other free to play games that are like this as well, but yeah, so they say that 10 million so far have played cloud gaming via Game Pass Ultimate, and they've touted that people have been using cloud on Steam Deck, and it's been accessed on unconventional devices, which I'm curious what they're talking about there. They say over 6,000 different types of devices have been used to access their
Play
gaming cloud.
xCloud on your toilet.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering, like, can you run it on a PS4 browser? Like, is that the
Probably.
unconventional device that they don't want to name?
That'd be funny.
Yeah. And then they've been rolling it out to more countries. They said there's been an overwhelming adoption in Brazil, so they had to scramble for more servers. And that was another thing that changed originally. I think the original cloud was running on like Xbox One S servers, and now it's running on Series X servers.
That's really interesting because I always hear about how much more expensive it is to buy physical games in Brazil.
Yeah.
And so this is like maybe like a good way to circumvent that, possibly.
Oh yeah.
be
I wonder
sweet.
about Australia as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Australia as well.
And then they said that they've seen a 2 times increase in play for games that have touch controls implemented. And 20% of Xbox cloud gaming users use touch controls exclusively.
Say that one more time, that stat.
So 20% of people using Xbox cloud gaming use touch controls only. So they're basically just using it on their phone.
20%.
But you can use a controller as well.
Nice.
So even with Fortnite, it's like if you just have access to a browser and a controller, just like pop it onto the PC and just play for a few rounds.
Does Fortnite support touch controls via xCloud?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if, Microsoft's making all these acquisitions and developing all these games. I wonder if they'll be communicating with the developers to be like, hey, design these with touch controls as an option in mind.
Yeah, well, that's something that the blog goes into a little bit more. And even when I saw them like first introducing xCloud stuff at GDC, they talk about like how they have this toolkit to where the developers don't even necessarily have to think about it. The games just become cloud aware. And it's like, oh, we're on the cloud, so we're going to present these options to people. And so it has these default control schemes. But then if developers want to put in the effort to make a more mobile-friendly control scheme, because like one thing that they showed is like Forza, they would just get rid of all the Xbox interface buttons and it was just like, here's gas, here's brake.
Yeah, and I think that's good, but I have to imagine the developers really getting in there and putting some love and care into it would just translate the mobile experience so much better. And like I wonder, over a long enough period of time, that would probably have some payoff, right? Like you get addicted to doing dailies in a game, right? And you're like, oh, maybe I could knock a few off of my phone, right? Like over time, that audience must grow, I would imagine. Yeah,
and the other thing they were talking about is that it gives people access to games that they otherwise couldn't.
Right.
So if people don't have a PC or an Xbox Series X.
Right.
So they said Microsoft Flight Simulator was introduced in March and was became like the number one game on the service for March because people don't have an Xbox Series X or a PC that can run that thing.
Or a hard drive with 200 gigs of space or whatever.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
So
Future.
Yeah.
Future tech.
It's funny because it's like it just feels like Stadia is just more and more just on the decline, while as in the background, Xbox's cloud just continues to push. And I feel like Fortnite is like a backdoor for this.
Totally.
Yeah.
Smart alliance.
Because when you go to that Xbox.com/play, it's like, yeah, there's Fortnite on the top that you can play free to play, and then Game Pass. Here's all the other games we have right now.
Yeah.
Stadia is just straight up dead.
Yeah, it's dead.
I still get updates.
Yeah, oh yeah, but yeah,
It's done.
it's done.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Is the piece of plastic in your wallet doing enough for you? Because with the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card, you can start building credit with everyday purchases and on-time payments. You see, with Credit Builder, members can increase their credit history with no annual fees or interest, and having a good credit score can mean getting better car loan rates or renting apartments easier, or just bragging rights around the dinner table. So continue your credit journey with Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/allies. That's chime.com/allies. CHIME, M as in Michael, e.com/allies. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank N.A. pursuant to a license from Visa USA. Chime checking account and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply for the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card. Regular on-time payment history can have a positive impact on your credit score. Impact to score may vary, and some users' scores may not improve. Go to chime.com/allies. Thanks.
And if you are a patron of Easy Allies, thank you. Neil Blomkamp is working on Battle Royale 2.0.
Such a strange announcement.
Funny way to put it. But yeah, so this week, GameSpot had an interview with Neil Blomkamp, who is the director of District 9, as well as some other films.
Yep, Chappie, Elysium. That's all I can think of right now.
Yeah.
That might be it.
He is
No,
now...
he had a VR demon thing
A
recently.
lot of he has like a production company. He does a ton of short films. Really, actually good short films, like
Nice.
Alien style short films. There's a handful of those that are actually worth looking into. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Demonic is the other one.
He is the chief visionary director at Gunzilla Games. Joined up them last July. And they revealed a teaser and first details for Off the Grid, which again they're calling a Battle Royale 2.0. So we'll run the teaser here real quick. It doesn't show much. This is really very conceptual at this point. We got a soldier in a jungle. He's got a gun. He's got a metal arm with
Looks
a
like
blade
Deacon.
coming out of his elbow.
The vibe is like his short films. His short films just have a really cool.
What's the name of that company?
Feel.
Dust? Is that what it's called?
I forget. Yeah, something like that. Dusk, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just kind of looking out at a building under siege. But so the 2.0 part of this is that
Oats.
is that they're aiming to have like more of a focus on narrative in all of this. And so it's kind of this, again, a cyberpunk inspired world. There's 3 factions, so you pick to be part of a faction when you create your character. And so these 3 factions are warring over control of a space elevator that leads to this like valuable asteroid mining operation.
That's a cool premise.
And so you have the option of engaging straight up in the battle royale, or you dive into the story missions, which they don't really totally explain how that plays out, how that's different. But they say that the story is different depending on which faction you join. So there's like each faction's perspective is going to look at how the events are differently.
I'm going with the Belters for sure. 100%.
Are they all
Honestly,
built?
it's funny that you mentioned The Expanse here because I was just thinking that this sounds a little like EVE Online and what they were trying to do.
Oh,
with,
sure.
What was it? EVE, whatever. The like
Dust 514.
Dust 514.
Yeah,
Yeah, the boots
I
on the
remember that.
ground thing. They were trying to do like you're on the planet, you're in
Good
space,
ball.
you're on the thing. Yeah, didn't pan out, but yeah.
And then the other thing that's a little more intriguing to me is that he's talking about that they would essentially react and like craft the story based on how the player base is changing. So if
So
like
this
one
is-
faction becomes dominant,
This is what I
then
wanted to do
they'll-
with
This is your game.
Seedlings.
They'll write to
This
that.
is the Bloodworth game every time.
Is it?
The
I was thinking of Mag for some reason.
no, the
What game are you thinking
the
of?
one that was like based on the show and it would like
Oh,
change.
Defiance.
Yeah. Oh my god. Kind of giving me a Defiance feeling here.
This was part of our pitch for Seedlings too. to
Oh,
Netflix,
yeah.
Where it's like this: if the players are doing this, like if they're being more evil, the show would start to have like volcanoes and shit. Yeah. The character model in this B-roll, like his head is too big or something. It looks weird. I don't know.
I don't mean to be overly cynical about this, but just everything about this reeks of like an overambitious game that slides into
Yeah.
development hell and never comes out.
I am
Sure.
not holding my breath for this. District 9, one of my favorite science fiction movies of all time, no question. But, you know, no disrespect to Blomkamp, but he's kind of been on the downhill for a while with his movies. Like, I just haven't connected to any of his work. Like, the shorts are really cool, but I haven't been, like, obsessed or connected to any of his worlds in a long time. So, like, just his name now isn't enough for me to, like, champion it and to rally behind it and, like, anticipate it. You know, everyone has some cool ones left in him. Like, it's never too late. So, like, he is capable of making some awesome things, but I'm not gonna get hyped just yet.
I want this idea
Yeah.
to work.
Yes.
Right.
I'd love it if it was me doing it, but like I love the idea of like what people are doing in a game is changing a show. I love that. And or like changing the story overall. Like no one. It feels like several people have taken a swing, and no one's nailed it. So it'd be really cool if they did it.
It being a battle royale, it doesn't do much for me, I gotta say.
Yeah, especially claiming to be Battle Royale 2.0. I'm like, all right.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you brought the changing narrative up, because that feels like it's about to become a thing. Like right when Naughty Dog was saying about factions, they were like, yo, we want to blend multiplayer and narrative, like cracking that formula, a narrative cinematic multiplayer
Back
game,
to formula.
you know?
It's so interesting because, like, I don't know if that's the right approach. Because, like, the way Dead by Daylight does it, I have, like, this weird respect for, where if you're not looking for it, you're not going to have any idea that Dead by Daylight has a narrative. But, like...
I did not know it.
It has an expansive narrative.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, all of the characters have backstories and a history and take place on this timeline, right? But you have no idea. And so, like, the people that are really invested, they can find that stuff and invest into it. But it is completely out of the way if you don't care. And I think being unobtrusive like that is very important. I think it allows people to get into the door without being like, oh my God, what's going on?
Same with Fortnite. Tons of lore, years of insane lore, but like Ben was saying, just kind of on the background.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but
how does that end
see...
up playing out? Because I know they have the big like events between seasons and stuff, but otherwise, how do you learn about that
They're like
stuff?
audio logs.
Quests. You land somewhere, someone spouts in your ear some lore,
or it's like Magic the Gathering has like crazy expansive, like novels and novels and novels of lore, right? And it's like, or you can just play the cards and never even think about it. And it's like, oh, these are cool characters, and like you have a sense that things are happening. But it's like with multiplayer stuff, it's such a hard nut to crack because it's like
Destiny,
the gameplay, or grimoires and stuff. But it's like even Destiny, I feel like didn't nail. Like the storytelling in Destiny is so weird, and like it's so hard to crack this nut because like they're at crossed purposes. Like for multiplayer stuff, you want fast, repeatable gameplay loops, and for narrative, you want to be able to take your time and soak in a story. Like, how do you marry those two things? I'm not sure, unless you just have, like, some kind of... where they're not on maps anymore. Like, the map changes every time because it's, like, literally evolving constantly, and that just seems like crunch nightmare forever.
Yeah. Like, even Avengers, you know, it, like, basically split. There's a single player, and then the story stuff, and then it's like, all right, go do the multiplayer missions that, like, have story in it, but...
Well, yeah, that's never the answer to do like or like Monster Hunter, or it seemed like Stranger of Paradise. It's like, oh, okay, this is a big story moment, so I have to do it by myself, and all my friends have to sit there and wait for 20 minutes while I get through. Like, that's not the solution at all.
Yeah, man, that's something that's so cool about Final Fantasy XIV is the story is like so involved and so massive that you can just play Final Fantasy XIV for the story and be completely satisfied. And so, like, I think if you're going to really focus on narrative, unless you go that hard with it, where it's like you can be content if you're just here for the story, I think it's really hard to incorporate that in a satisfying way because you're going to have all these people that are just like, no, I just want to get in a party with my friends and play this cool game.
Yeah.
I feel like the only way to do it, honestly, would be... I mean, I guess maybe this is what they're trying to get at is like that the player base is driving the story, and like if it's emergent through that, and you're giving them like lore and areas to like role play in, except they don't have to RP, they're just discovering it themselves as players and driving it. I mean, that's like EVE Online, you know, like you hear about these massive wars and trade battles and stuff, and that's all player driven.
Yeah.
I think emergent stories are more interesting anyway.
Yeah.
Because I always think too, like, anytime I'm playing multiplayer, it's so much harder to follow a story along.
Oh,
when you're playing with your buddies, you know, you're shooting the shit.
It's impossible.
They want to say something, you want to say something. Everyone's talking at the time.
What's the funny thing
and
is
they're
like,
giving you like all this lore, and it's like I can't hear. I don't know.
Ben, you just did Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and you had to play through that basically single player. And I've done all the reviews of the Borderlands game single player, but it's one of those things that like, people are constantly talking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so if you're playing with somebody else,
constantly
you're
talking.
missing that stuff. So it's weird because they're totally like different experiences in a way.
Even playing single player, I feel like I would miss so much just because I'd be shooting dozens of things, you know what I mean, while people are talking. So if you add people into that, it only gets more complicated,
Yeah, because then you're like, I need a heal, or I need you to, de-aggro this guy or whatever so that I can, so you're trying to team up. Meanwhile, Claptrap is saying some craziness.
I think more about like when we played GTFO, right? Where it's like we're communicating and making choices, and there's lore and story stuff that we're picking up here and there, but like we played it once and we were like, we had coined saying like weapons free to each other and stuff.
Right.
It's just like, if you find a way to do that kind of thing on a massively multiplayer scale, I think it'd be pretty awesome.
But then you go, it's weird like talking about Battle Royale, but also factions and like it's hard to picture this. And they're even vague on like how some of that stuff is going to work because they haven't really specified whether like, are you going to be listening to audio logs? Are you going to be watching cutscenes? They haven't really said yet.
Truly, I will be stunned if this game releases. I will be shocked.
That's about where I'm
I will
at.
be shocked if this game ever comes out.
They also don't seem to want to reveal yet whether you could change factions. So you might be like really locked in.
Was it PlanetSide 2 that did this? 3 factions?
PlanetSide.
And it like
shout out. I love
It
was
could
like
be.
live updating the.
I do feel like Mag did this kind of thing, but without as
Mag
much
and
story.
PlanetSide were like the ones doing this. To my,
We got to find a better way to do audio logs because
Definitely.
when I was reviewing Dying Light 2, anytime I got an audio log, it was like, well, I don't want to run around the city. Like I want to sit there. Let me hide in a corner and just sit there and listening. And so it's like, in order to fully appreciate this thing, I feel like I have to like come to a screeching halt in the game, and I'm just like, this is not gelling. Like this is not a good way to have supplemental lore in your game.
I feel like part of me and I haven't ever played it, and I always intend to, but I feel like there's probably like Warframe has just been doing all of this forever.
Oh, sure.
And every Warframe player is just like, we all
updates.
do this, we have this. Yeah.
We were
Somebody
talking
who's
about
dabble in Warframe, I wouldn't.
I mean, I know nothing.
Storytelling
about
would
Warframe.
not jump to the forefront of my mind. Is like,
there for the grind.
We were talking about Resident Evil notes, though, Huber.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of like the right length, right? So it's like you
the
stop and
first
read or
game,
whatever, but
yes.
it's not. You're not stopping. It's not like breaking up the gameplay flow.
And it's harder when your game is bigger. It's just harder. Like we were just going through them on stream, and it's like the first game is smaller, so there's only a handful of these documents. So when you stop and pick them up, every single one is meaningful because it's not happening every 10 seconds. I always criticize in my reviews of Remedy games. You want every piece of that lore. You want every morsel of that story. But there's 3 in every single room you go in, and it's just non-stop.
It was exhausting in
long.
control.
Yeah.
It was exhausting.
I feel like someone needs to like do the math where it's like it takes X long to shoot an enemy, or it takes X long to get killed by an enemy shooting at me, and it takes X minus 3 long to read a sentence of lore. I mean, and that's the max length a sentence of lore should ever be, and you just get one at a time.
That is why I think FromSoft has this like perfect formula, because honestly, going through Elden Ring, if you asked me to like give you the story so far, I'd probably do a pretty poor job, but it does a good enough job convincing me that it is there, right? And so I feel like it is able to present itself so well and so convincingly that when I'm playing, I can buy into the world, even if I don't have like a textbook definition of what's going on, right? I still like that. It's built on those bones, right? And so that allows you to get immersed. And then because you are immersed, you have all of these emergent stories that supplement, this well thought out world. And so you get both things, right? And if your gameplay is good enough and interesting enough consistently, I feel like you can get away with that.
What about a new Battle Royale? Just in general,
Well,
that's
actually,
a hard one.
Talking about story and Battle Royale, this is actually relevant. You were just playing it too. Vampire Blood Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Blood Hunt. This is a battle royale multiplayer game.
Wait, are you up on Blood Hunt now?
Yeah, let's play a little
the
Blood
last
Hunt.
couple of days, I've been checking out Blood
What?
Hunt again. Yeah.
Don't sleep on Blood Hunt.
I played the beta like 6 months ago. It was so hard.
It's tough. People are intense. So it's a multiplayer battle royale, but then in between matches, you have this hub area and you can interact with things. And it's cool. It's really cool, but it doesn't, I'd like for it to go a step further.
Yes.
It's like, okay, you can pick something, like look at something on the wall and read a little lore on it.
Yes.
But it's like, let's evolve this. Let's go. Like,
Huber, you are crystallizing my thoughts so perfectly because I was talking to you and I was like, I really appreciate that this hub is here. It's giving a sense of place. It's kind of neat that you can go and like read about the items and see people in the hub, and you have this quest where you can run around and try to find things. Like it's neat, and I like that the mechanics of the game feel like they're kind of role playing in this world where it's like, okay, if you attack a human or if somebody sees you feeding, like that's bad. You're breaking the masquerade. You're going to be revealed on the map. But then, like really, once you kind of get into that and you're kind of like into the idea and kind of into this world, it's like, well, I guess all I can do is grind out this battle pass, these challenges, right? Like you just want. It's just like a little taste.
yeah.
And
it's
then there's like
bring
nowhere
this world to life.
There's nowhere to go with it other than
Yeah.
to just play a battle royale and
Yep.
sleep.
Yep.
You know what game has a great evolving hub?
Huh.
Vermintide 2, baby.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
Vermintide 2.
That's a good
Vermintide
example.
2,
yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
I feel like Vermintide 2 does it better than a lot of what we're talking
Yeah.
And
about.
Darktide is
yeah.
not too far off. Yeah.
Kind of that
Dark
the
Tide.
banter between characters, like
Yeah.
progressing the story is good. I like that stuff.
And
still.
it's memorable dialogue. Like you don't catch all of it, but you get like the gist.
Yeah.
And like it's very quotable. Like me and my friend Jack are always just like, and not before time, like all the time. I love that game. We should play more of it.
Hell yeah. When that new one comes out.
Darktide.
Darktide is.
Darktide,
We're gonna be a
Darktide.
Darktide channel.
We're going to be a Darktide channel. Yeah. Yep.
This is fun. I'm excited to see though.
Yeah, when we actually
Obviously-
see some gameplay of off the grid, some like
And
more concrete
factions.
stuff.
I want to see if we're about to get this next step in multiplayer storytelling. Like
Yeah.
I look to factions, and now I guess I'm looking to Blomkamp.
Yeah,
You
because
know?
it feels. I mean, it does feel like a Molyneux pitch, right? Like Peter Molyneux is resurfaced in Blomkamp's body, controlling him from afar.
I wouldn't put it past him. Like blood ritual magic or something. Like
What's in the center of the cube?
Oh boy.
what was in the center of that damn cube?
It was like profit, right? The person got like a contract
Right.
profit for the game.
Oh
that
yeah.
But
yeah.
then he had to
Never
pay it
got
out later, and it got all weird.
Yeah, please no corrections. We don't
Would
care.
you believe it was messy?
yeah.
Please, I don't
I'm
want it. I
sorry
want
I
no
asked.
corrections about that.
Sorry,
Please.
I asked.
Huber, you know what else is off the grid?
Huh.
Shenmue 4.
Shenmue 4.
So, speaking to IGN Japan in Yokosuka,
Yes.
where Shenmue is based, Yu Suzuki says there are no concrete plans,
plans.
for Shenmue 4, but when he makes it, he wants to make it appeal to a broader audience.
Yeah, he had previously said that a little after Shenmue 3 had come out. So he's reiterating. He said that Shenmue 3 was 100% for the fans, for better and for worse. And if he made a new one, he would try to appease to everyone. And he even called out some things like the ability to wait. Because there's some waiting involved in Shenmue. You got to wait till certain times. of
Oh,
day.
right, yeah.
Just like waiting and like fast travel, things that as a fan of Shenmue don't sound great to me, but like anything Yu Suzuki wants to do, any kind of Shenmue release, I'm gonna be grateful for. So, yeah. And Blood, there's been just so much fuel to this because the anime just wrapped up that was phenomenal. It was a huge ratings hit, critically, commercially, like people were watching this. Whole new fan base for Shenmue now because of how excellent the anime was. It was on Crunchyroll and Adult Swim simulcast.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And just each week, the conversation was just going and going and going. And now 110 Industries, is it 110 or 101?
I'm not sure.
110 or 101 Industries has just been liking tweets about Shenmue. They just released an interview from TGS last year talking about Shenmue with Yu Suzuki.
Nice.
Just adding fuel to the fire. They released, there's some Kojima conspiracy level stuff. They released a picture of an apple and a banana, and they were like, yeah, 110 Industries, thank you. They released a tweet of like an apple and a banana, and like in Shenmue, there's like apples and bananas that you can take before starting the day. And it's like, yo, no announcements, but like buckle up in the coming weeks. And just like their Twitter account has been liking all this Shenmue content. So the theory was that when the anime wrapped up, maybe there would be
some kind of announcement.
But you know, there's been more hope now than there's ever been. So
is there something there to the anime that you think they could learn from to capture onto that, you know, broader appeal?
I don't know. I think they're just so different. Like, I'm at a point now where the anime was so good that if they want to wrap up this story in the anime, I'll take it. And I will be happy about it because the anime was so damn good. So if that's what needs to be done to finish this story, so be it. Obviously, ideally, we'd like Shenmue 4, and I think 5 would be like the finale of it all. I think there's like 2 more left for the story. But yeah, I mean, I'm used to waiting for Shenmue content, and we just got the anime for 13 weeks. So it's like new Shenmue stuff every week for 13 weeks, so I'm good for a while.
That's a good run, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, 110 looks right up our alley. They're posting Shenmue content. They're replying to people with Silent Hill gifs.
It's out of control. Yeah, they know. They know.
Wanted Dead move game is like pretty cool, dude.
It's like a sanctuary for wayward fans, you know, like, have you been abandoned?
Yeah.
Come here.
Come over here.
Let me embrace you. Let me embrace a group.
Yeah, well, actually, I do have a quote from Embracer CEO Lars Wingfors in 2020 that said, Shenmue 3 is an IP and a product I love, and, you know, I think financially it's fine, and I'm glad that the core fans are pleased, he said. I think it is a challenge to see this as a mass market product.
Yeah.
This is a core niche product.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, they would just honestly have to make a Yakuza game if they wanted mass appeal. You know, you get a little more
that's a good
zany,
example.
wacky, open world side quests, way more traditional structure. That obviously comes at a risk of, you know, not upsetting, but like that's a weird thing for fans because like you want to wrap this up for the fans, and that's Yu Suzuki's like mission to wrap it up for the fans. That is his main goal. These comments about like mass appeal are because he's like, yo, I run a company.
Yeah.
Like this is a necessity. I need to do this. Like I want to make the game for the fans, but he's got to do what he's got to do. And I think just, you know, like Yakuza style something, or like Sifu style beat 'em up. Like let's go.
Oh yeah,
That's what I would love.
yeah. Because that's why I was wondering. Do you think that you just need something
Genre
that means a bit
change.
quicker, more immediate gameplay that will make that work, and then
Well, I think any product that you have where it's like, okay, we're continuing this same story that started on the Dreamcast is just going to be hard for a new audience.
Yeah.
It just is. Even if you re-release the games or whatever,
Yeah.
I think
'Cause the
that's just
remasters
going to
did
be
come out,
that's just going to be a barrier for a not insignificant number of people.
Big time. It's so hard. It's hard.
Well,
it's a
especially
tough
because
ask.
you know the Shenmue 2 gap as well. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you played the first one, but then again, it was kind of weird to get the second one.
Yeah, well, there's the remasters now, so you can easily
Yeah.
play 1 through 3, but still, that's a tough ask, asking people to go catch up on 20-year-old games. Like, Shenmue 1 doesn't control the best. You know, if you haven't really played a lot of old games, you know, you're a young person and you hop into Shenmue, you're like, dude, what? What is this? Like, this feels weird. The voice acting, you know, that is an acquired taste.
It's also I think, like, even from a genre perspective, hard pitching Shenmue, because it's like, well, what genre is it? It's like
Slice of life.
It's the Shenmue genre, you know? Right? Like
Free.
Even saying
Remember?
it's like
FREE.
even saying it's like
reactive, yeah.
Yakuza, I don't think is that accurate, right?
I like to say it's like an open world life sim kind of. Even that's weird. Like,
that's much harder than being like it's a first-person shooter.
Yeah, totally.
But I think Yakuza is a fair enough direction to where it wouldn't have to change too much.
Take some stuff from
because
Yakuza for sure. Yeah,
you spend a lot of time watching Yakuza's story.
The thing is,
definitely.
Yakuza is a very healthy series. You know, that's already a niche that I think is being filled super adequately. So I don't know if going in that style helps us as much as it maybe initially seems like it would.
Yeah.
Huber,
anything they want to do.
Without spoiling things, is there a way that you see from where Shenmue 3 has left off for it to feel like, oh, a newcomer can just jump in here and be fine without playing the first 3 games?
It's tough. It's tough, really. Honestly, because even like Yakuza, you're picking up Kazuma's story, like Majima's story. It's so important each time you jump into one, knowing what's come before.
Well, you have like a dragon.
Yeah, for sure. You have like
Judgment.
Yeah. You got these like spin-off style, but like the core 0 through 6 arc, like all those games are about mainly Kazuma and like obviously Majima. There's other characters, of course, but like through its core, the through line is this one character.
Well, yeah, but think about it. 0 came out well into Yakuza's life cycle.
For sure, but it's a prequel. You're going before.
Right, that's what I mean, though. But
so
I'm
if we
saying,
wanted
like,
Shenmue 0.
Right, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is maybe there's something like that you can do to get, because
you just
like
take
a spin-off, like a
page.
Shenmue spin-off.
Sure, because like Yakuza 0 was pivotal for that franchise.
The moment.
I feel like it's where a lot of people jumped on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so maybe doing something like that.
Yeah.
And then I think like Kiwami 1 and 2 were smart too, because then people that played 0 could get into
just remaking the first one would be smart for sure.
I think you take a page from
That's a smart idea.
Guilty Gear, where the story mode is just a 5-hour video. You just say at the beginning of Shenmue 4, have you played Shenmue's 1 through 3? And if you say no, it just plays the entire anime. That'll eventually catch up.
Ironically,
to the
that is
fourth game.
exactly what Yakuza did.
Yeah.
You would have
Graveyard.
You would have you like on the menu you could like reminisce about the old games.
Funny.
I would love Shenmue Kiwami, Ben. You nailed it. There you go.
Yeah.
In fact, they should call it Shenmue Kiwami.
They
That would
absolutely
make me very
should.
happy.
100%.
Shenmue
do you think they could
Extreme.
even like somehow condense those games into like a 5-hour thing?
Yeah, because one
and
is
then you're
short.
just playing 4 after that?
One really, like if you know what to do and maybe just have a like 5% more direction, you can get through one quick. So if you combine, like 2 is massive, but you could just put 1 and 2 on one whole package and repackage that whole
I'm just
thing.
thinking like maybe if like somehow they like took everything that's already been put out and somehow made that like the introduction part of the next game.
To me, the anime is the introduction.
Yeah.
I tell anyone that's never played the games to watch the anime first at this point, honestly, because there's always this thing of like, well, I want to play the games, but it's like, that's still a lot. That's a lot of hours, you can digest this anime. And it's different enough. Like, it's the same main arc, but they subtract and they add in different places. So it's like if you go back to the games after watching the anime, it's you're going to get like the extended cut,
right?
In a way.
I think that there's a precedent for this. You do like, since Shenmue 3 was a successful Kickstarter, they could follow in the footsteps of other successful Kickstarters and put out a different game that's like a completely different style, like a Curse of the Moon or whatever, or like what Ayuden Chronicles is doing, like, and you could even frame it within the world where it's like, he picks up a handheld console in the standard graphics, and then it goes to this 2D thing that like, he's reliving his memories, and it's the storyline roughly of the first 3 games, but it only takes like 5 or 6 hours, and it's like a 2D platformer or something. Like, you could get cute with it, and it's not unheard of. Like, all the other big Kickstarters are doing it.
The only thing that has me nervous about all this is like funding. Like Yu Suzuki, Shenmue, you can't just remake it, remaster all this. Like, it is a constant struggle to get anything Shenmue related. So
it would be a real shame if they like spent a bunch of money doing like a remake or something of the first 3 or like a condensing.
Yeah, and then that's
then run out of money and can't ever do the 4th one that they were trying to build out to. Yeah.
Yeah.
The anime. Hopefully the anime season 2. Let's go.
Also this week, Summer Game Fest is officially kicking off June 9th at 11 a.m. Also, it and the Game Awards are coming to IMAX theaters this year.
Thanks, Daddy Keeley.
IMAX. That is the dream.
Huber, do you remember the Callisto Protocol from the ex-Visceral guys? The kind of spiritual Dead Space successor?
It sounds familiar.
That's not the one tied in with PUBG?
It is sort of, very distantly. But yeah, Glenn Schofield teased that it's almost time to show you the real thing. And this is about a month after Keeley was at their studio. So probably going to be at Summer Game Fest.
He's holding them all, man.
All of it.
Man,
really
I feel like
all the cards.
I feel like the Dead Space remake is kind of eating their lunch.
A little bit. But we'll see the real thing.
Yeah.
We'll judge from there.
Interested. Very interested.
Very.
I just hope that their release dates don't end up like 3 weeks apart or something like that.
Really encouraging too. Dead Space. The last thing I saw about the remake was due to fan feedback.
Yeah.
Take a note, Blizzard. Due to fan feedback, they changed some gun sounds.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're gonna remix this stuff. Yep.
They should actually directly call out Blizzard.
Yeah, they should.
Take
IO Interactive is pushing Hitman 3's freelancer update to later this year.
Okay.
Describing that as a luxury because the game's been doing so well that they now have the opportunity to make this new mode the best that it can be.
Heck yeah, dude. Roguelite
and-
style, right? Oh
Yeah,
my
so
God,
it's
yes.
a major update. It's introducing a roguelike campaign
That seems just absolutely perfect for Hitman.
with a customizable safe house that's going to
Yes,
like
which
be
is
part
such
of
a
your
throwback.
progression.
That is such a throwback to the early Hitman days. The safe house in between missions, adding weapons to your wall, dude. Yes.
And then meanwhile, the release of the Ambrose Island map has moved forward to July with a storyline that fills in before the events of Hitman 3.
Oh, weird. Okay. Yeah, because with Season 2, some of those missions were later, after the campaign had wrapped up. So we're going back before. Interesting. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, because I was wondering how they were going to do that. It's like, yo, is this going to be like an epilogue to what went down after 3? And I guess it makes sense. They can avoid that now and then save that card for
Freelancer,
Hitman 4 or Freelancer
Yeah.
or something. If Freelancer, Yes. Okay.
Interesting, though, Crytek hired the director of Hitman 3, Matthias Engström, to work on Crysis 4. So
Wow.
I don't know,
Okay.
Maximum stealth.
that bodes well,
Yeah.
Because I do feel like Crysis 2 in particular had some cool like level design
For
and like
sure.
ways that it worked with like all of your different movesets.
For
and stuff.
sure, Crysis really cool, but kind of like a Tomb Raider situation. Like obviously, Crysis 1 and 2, like 1 is so different than 2 and 3, but like diminishing returns for me as that franchise went on. I loved the original Crysis, liked 2, and then by 3, I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
I liked 1, obviously the graphical showpiece.
Yeah.
2, I really like I felt like it controlled really well.
Yeah.
And I liked a lot of the stuff they did there. And then 3, I don't know.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
some reason, I just checked out on
Just
3.
out of steam
Yeah.
by then, Yeah.
Naoki Yoshida says Final Fantasy 16 is in the final stages of development and has a well fleshed out story.
Hey, there's this big story in it.
You'd be insane to doubt Yoshi P at this point.
Yeah.
Ben,
Like all
I'm looking
signs
forward
point
to
to
it, for
Final
sure.
Fantasy 16 being an absolute banger.
Ben, 3 days ago I said 0% chance.
Yeah.
Dude, is 16 coming out this year?
I think there's a chance 16 could come out this year. Yeah. I mean, it'll be November,
Yeah?
December.
I think
But
it still could happen.
I definitely, maybe October, but like,
Wild.
Yeah.
That is so wild.
I mean, because the
How is
way
that
that they're
possible?
talking about it is like, when you
Finishing
see it
touches.
again, like we really want to be ready.
Yeah.
Any chance of a Keeley demo? Final Fantasy used to do demos.
Well, yeah,
I think
mean,
that
15.
Square Enix may do their own
had
thing
multiple
again
demos.
at Summer Game Fest. I don't know if they'll be like.
The thing
Yeah.
The
I
thing
don't
with
know.
15 though is it was like, what is going on with this game? Here are some demos to tide you over.
Yeah.
So I think 16 might be a different thing, and if it is coming out this year or early next year.
Oh, you
I
mean a
don't
playable
know.
demo?
Yeah, playable.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
Yeah. 7 Remake had a demo as well.
They do demos.
I mean, honestly, like
Let's
they
go,
could
Keely.
position it to where it could be like one of the biggest, most talked about games at Summer Game Fest. Like it could be
Yeah.
like the marquee thing.
Play
Yeah.
that on the IMAX. And that's,
I mean, it's.
that is the best.
I think I said it in Slack or something like it's. Or no, I said it here. It's like meant for Final Fantasy 16 is meant for the IMAX.
Yep,
of
that and
course.
God of War. You're like, yep. You nailed it. I was thinking too low, man. I was thinking Turtles. It's like, we don't need the IMAX for that.
What also might be coming out this year? Skull and Bones. Footage was leaked and then taken down, showing that the pirate-themed multiplayer is still alive, and it's evolved, including an emphasis on gathering supplies, crafting, ranking up, building bigger and better ships. And yeah, apparently
I'm good.
Ubisoft
That
is targeting this
sounds-
fall.
That they were like trying to get us excited, and that just sounds like a grind.
Yeah,
It does.
That just sounds like a grind.
It does.
Yeah, listing those things out. I'm good.
All we can say is that you played it, right? At E3?
What we played is an
Played it?
entirely different game at this point. but
Entirely
yeah.
different game. We played it.
Because what
at
we
E3.
played is like PvP matches.
Yeah.
And then even the second year that we played it, it just felt like it went from something that was like easy to jump into to something that was like, whoa, what am I doing? Like there was just
Yeah.
like the systems had gotten like a little bit more advanced.
I don't know how this game possibly comes out and succeeds.
Yeah. I really do think that Ubisoft just has to put it out
Yep.
to like fulfill the contract with the Singapore government, and then they'll probably close that studio.
Wow.
Yeah, who knows? And speaking of Ubisoft, an update on the remake of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Ubisoft Montreal has taken over development from Mumbai and Pune. And Montreal is the team that made the original game, the studio that made the original, and they're going to regroup on the scope to deliver the best experience. And this game was originally planned to be released in January of 2021.
Yeah.
Now currently has no release
Yeah,
date.
it's going to be a while based on that description.
Yeah. And then Warped Kart Racers was announced for Apple Arcade, including characters from Family Guy, American Dad, King of the Hill, and Solar Opposites. Who wants this?
I'm good.
Who wants this?
I'm
I mean,
good.
they're nailing the trend. That is, if I'm a brand manager, I'm stoked about this. Like throwing properties together
I
in
suppose.
any way, huge IPs, throw them together in a blender. Like we're talking about it. Get some headlines.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
just smart.
It just seemed bizarre.
people love that stuff right now. It's-
Even as much as I love King of the Hill, it's not something I want a kart racing game for. It doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
I was watching King of the
driving a
Hill
lawnmower?
recently, and
Yeah.
man, that show's so good.
Perfect.
Which one?
King of the Hill.
King of the
It's
Hill.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
It's time for love and respect. Love and respect. From Adam Fay. Have you ever jumped into a historically dense franchise late in the game? Back during the PS3 era, I decided to check out Metal Gear, but jumped straight into Metal Gear Solid 4 without playing any of the previous games.
Whoa.
I really enjoyed the gameplay, the boss fights, and the cinematic nature of it all, but naturally I had no idea what's going on story-wise. For whatever reason, that didn't bother me at all, and might have actually made it my experience better.
That's cool.
Because it was impossible for me to get let down by any story threads that some players had waited for years to get a payoff for. I could just enjoy the ride. This is still the only Metal Gear game I have ever played. If you've had a similar experience, did that lead you to want to play more from the franchise, or were you content with what you played?
Yakuza 3 was the first Yakuza game I played. And I liked it so much that, I wanted to play more.
Dive in. I'm trying to think.
I mean, it doesn't really count,
No.
but The only Zork game I've played is Zork Nemesis, which I think is like the 11th one or 9th one or something.
What a pull, Zork.
I love Zork Nemesis. It's great.
Nice.
I mean, I guess Final Fantasy. Like, I played one on NES when I was super young.
Oh, sure. 7 was the first
But
Final
then,
Fantasy game I played.
Yeah, like I owned one on NES, but then like
different 'cause it's not
7.
But they're
Annual.
all,
Yeah.
separate stories anyway.
Yeah.
7 was the beginning of it. Yeah.
The one I was thinking of is East 9, playing that last year, and that, like, having that discovery, and it's like, yeah, there's a part of me that definitely, like, I want to go back,
Yeah,
pull
that's
out
just-
that TurboGrafx Mini and play through 1 and 2 and see how I can work my way through the rest of the series.
I guess it's a good point. I think Ys 8 was the first Ys I played. Yeah, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. And it does a fair job in 9 of every once in a while giving those nods of like, oh yeah, this, remember when you did this? Remember when you did that thing? All the trouble you guys have been in? But referencing those things without making you feel like, I missed out, I guess. You know, it's like, okay, I understand he had past adventures and it's cool and I don't need to know the details.
That was honestly how I felt about Yakuza 3, is I felt like I could appreciate it on its own terms, which was nice.
Yeah.
Sunshine Orphanage.
Sunshine Orphanage, that's right.
From Logan Taus, is there a game that you know you've beaten but can't for the life of you remember anything about?
Countless.
Maybe because it's been so long since you played it, or it was just that unmemorable.
No, not even that unmemorable. It's just when you are constantly playing games, like your brain. Yeah. No, it's actually really upsetting, and like provides a sense of guilt, because we brought up Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I've played through Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I feel like I barely remember anything about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their example is Beyond Good and Evil. They played when the remaster came out, but don't remember anything about the game. Which is interesting because the original game came out right alongside of Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
I'm going through one right now, and I only remember the end. It's been the longest out of this franchise that I haven't beaten it, and that's San Andreas. I beat it like when it came out. Have not finished San Andreas from start to finish in so long. Don't remember anything about any of the story except like the end is ingrained in my brain so vividly. I don't know why. This like big battle. But then other than that,
Right.
I don't remember that. I don't remember any of these missions. Like, I don't remember any of this progression.
I had that actually because we were just streaming Sonic Adventure, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I got the true ending in Sonic Adventure, and I like looked it up because I wasn't sure, and I looked it up and I was like, okay, no, I definitely did. Yeah, no, it's hard remembering things, and it sucks because like some of these things you'll experience and you'll really like it, and then you'll lose so much of it.
Yeah.
The one I was thinking of is Illusion of Gaia. I remember like this, like a scene on a boat that I probably remember from a screenshot, right? But I don't like anything else about that RPG is just out of my head. I have no idea how it played. I don't even really remember whether it was like turn-based or action-based.
One that just popped in my head is Condemned 2. Played through that whole game. 1 is so memorable. Obsessed. Played through 2. I couldn't tell you anything. I couldn't tell you about the story. I don't know who the villain is. I don't know how it ends.
It is the worst feeling, though, when you do play through something and you're like, yeah, that just wasn't that memorable. Like, that sucks.
Is 1 or 2 with the bear, though? If the bear is in Condemned 2, then I remember it.
just saw a thing
Then I
today
remember.
where somebody described Condemned 2 as the bear game.
Okay, there it is. That's all I remember then. I remember 1.
I don't know where I saw that, but yeah, somebody I saw that written somewhere.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
dude, that part.
No, I have never played Condemned 2.
Oh my God,
I just
that's
saw it. I know
just
you
that
have
part.
described it as the bear game, and then I saw somebody else today describe it as the bear game. Yeah.
Speaking of games.
Hey! My favorite part of the show. I'll say that and then like get none right on the spot.
From Stomps, I'm actually going to play 2 games today.
Oh.
Game 1, 1v1 Fan Art Showdown.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's right. For this game, the panel must guess which gaming icons are the most popular based
Sonic
on the
the Hedgehog.
total results.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
These are one-on-one matchups, though.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Separate matchups. Return from a search on DeviantArt.
Sonic
I'm locking in Sonic.
I actually think they gave it away as the example. So yeah, searching
Okay.
Mario Returns Mario returns 727,000 results. Searching Sonic returns 1.6 million results.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Zelda or Link?
Oh, tough one. I'm going to say Zelda.
I'll say Link.
It might be Link.
Link.
Oh, okay.
Zelda 502,000. Link 1.2 million. So
Wow.
almost double.
It's the Master Sword, that's why. You want to draw that Master Sword,
Right.
You know?
But of those, how many is Link cross-dressing from Breath of the Wild?
I was gonna say he's dressed as Zelda and probably half of them.
Yeah.
Luigi or Kratos?
Kratos.
Luigi.
You're
Oh,
so right.
Luigi.
It's gonna be
You
Luigi.
wanted to be Kratos.
Yeah, I wanted
Luigi, yeah. By a long shot, Luigi 191,000. Kratos 35K.
Okay.
It's because of that trailer where Luigi did the hate eyes. That got
Yeah.
a lot of art, I bet.
Pikachu or Kirby?
Kirby.
Kirby. There's some
I'll
perverted
never bet
Kirby.
against Pokemon. Pikachu.
It's Pikachu.
Ah.
A little closer, 438,000 versus 319,000.
That's pretty
Yeah,
close.
pretty close.
Yeah.
Blowing away Luigi and Kratos on both of those. Charizard or Master Chief?
Charizard. Never bet against Pokemon.
Charizard.
I'll
I
never
want to
bet
say
against-
Charizard, but they did a Pokemon one before, so I feel like they're trapping us. I feel like this is a trick. Master Chief?
I'm going to say Charizard.
No, it's Charizard.
Ah, I overthought it.
108,000 versus 51,000 for Master Chief.
Yeah, Master Chief is not
Yeah, it's
a
not
DeviantArt character.
not drawable. Although now that they showed his butt in the show,
Yeah.
they'll get more
Oh,
in
my.
there.
Sasuke or Cloud?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
Cloud.
tough.
It's so Cloud.
It's probably
I'm going to go Sasuke.
It's Cloud.
ah.
Sasuke's got 462,000. Cloud's got 615,000.
Damn, okay.
Tifa
Tifa.
or Samus?
Tifa.
Tifa.
A Tifa.
Tifa. Oh, I don't know. I think
Samus
Samus is
also
really
good.
popular on
Yeah,
DeviantArt.
for sure. That's actually a good one to go against.
I'm going to say Samus.
It's Samus.
Oh, nice.
Samus.
Tifa's got 83,000. Samus has 103,000.
I'm amazed that Tifa's so low.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, that can't
Yeah.
be right. Did they have like explicit content?
Yeah,
turned
wait a
off?
minute. What were your filters?
What were your filters?
What were your filters?
Like that seems too low. Although great that strength is apparently more drawable than physical beauty. I guess I don't know. Well, they're both beautiful. And
Yeah,
strong.
what?
I don't know. Forget I said anything. I'm in love with both of them.
Ryu or Big Boss?
Ryu.
Street Fighter Ryu.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Ryu.
Big Boss.
Big Boss.
Oh.
Close call. 166,000 for Ryu, 172,000 for Big Boss.
Wow.
Very Big Boss.
And then
Live chat is making a good point that a huge percentage of the Samus are probably Zero Suit Samus.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Naruto or Minecraft.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man. Wow.
I feel like Naruto is more of the DeviantArt generation than Minecraft is, but I don't know.
I'll say Minecraft.
I'm gonna say Naruto.
I think it's a tie.
I wouldn't be surprised either way. I guess.
Naruto 1.4 million. Minecraft 404,000.
I thought you were going to say like
Wow.
400 million.
It's a million on Minecraft. Ending on a win for anime.
Oh, yes. Get it, Naruto.
Believe it.
Hell yeah.
From Christian Jimenez, riddle me this. So basically, he's going to present a riddle, and then you have to guess the game that this riddle is about.
Ooh.
This sounds difficult.
Yeah, I'm bad at riddles.
I shoot in first person, but that is not my classification. It was my first adventure in a new dimension.
Metroid Prime.
Metro Prime. Damn it.
Yep, Metroid Prime.
I love this.
God, beat me by a second.
My title name is a copy of another game, just like the themes and story I mimic.
Columns?
My title name is a copy of another game?
My title name?
Yeah, you could probably go in title or name.
I think they're trying to make it rhyme.
Just like the themes and story I mimic.
My title name is a copy of another game like the themes and story I mimic?
I don't know.
Is it
Dreams?
like Minish Cap or something? I don't know. No.
It's Prey. 2017 Prey.
Okay.
So it's the same name.
I get it. Okay.
And then it got the
Okay.
the mimic.
That's a
yeah.
hard one.
Yeah.
This year will make 18 years since I was released. You could say that makes me a full adult too. That's a
God of War 2?
That could be anything.
that's a tricky one.
Something about being an adult.
I don't know what the adult other than the number.
World
but-
of Warcraft?
Wow.
One more time.
This year will make 18 years since I was released. You could say that makes me a full adult too.
18 years was 2004.
Is it God of War 1 maybe? No.
I mean,
already
it has
guessed
to be-
WoW.
It has to be a pun on becoming an adult, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure I actually get what the trick is, but it's Half-Life 2.
I mean,
I don't.
okay.
Oh, Half-Life,
Oh, Half-Life. Okay,
I guess.
That I would never got it.
maybe. Yeah.
I would have never got it.
This is a funny one. Okay. I coined a new genre, but the pretenders and imitators haven't dethroned me. I don't make it easy for them.
Death Stranding.
Could be
That's a fair choice.
Fortnite or PUBG, but they've dethroned PUBG, so.
pretenders and imitators. Don't make it easy for them. Oh, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls it is.
Oh,
Nice
yeah,
one.
Souls likes.
Nice one, Ben.
I have as many endings as the types of gameplay I offer, and my story was always meant to be more than it seems.
Near
Stanley
Automata.
Parable?
Nailed it.
Ah. Oh,
Oh, that one was cute. I like that one. I'm surprised you got that one.
I'm surprised as well.
It's time for bets. This week's bet. Salt and Sacrifice is coming out next week. It's a 2D Souls-like action RPG, and it's a sequel to Salt and Sanctuary. I'm going to go through the top 10 reviewers on OpenCritic. How many times will I see the word loot? Huber.
5 times.
You did what I
5
did last
times.
podcast.
Ben.
12 times.
12 times. Isla.
2 times.
2 times. Wow, coming in low.
Loot.
Not a loot-heavy series.
Maybe they'll, because I think maybe they'll say gear.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
that's a
like-
good.
Yeah, you
that's a
get
good
them
one.
out of treasure chests
Yeah.
and stuff, I think.
And I said 6 times.
You could have flipped that over and made it a 9.
That's true. Maybe I have to do like a little line next time.
Yeah. We're just trusting you not to adapt.
Trust you.
Trusting me to remember what I wrote down when we started.
yeah.
Last week's bet, Trek to Yomi is out. Huber did a review.
Yep.
It's on Game Pass as well, which I found out, which is nice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
incredible value.
Value.
We knew the game would
Such a good
feature
value.
a time jump when you go from a child to an adult. And last week, I asked the panel how many individual birds we would see before the time jump.
I love this bet, Blake.
Yeah, because I saw
good.
a little bit of Huber's preview, saw some birds scattering, like, oh, how many birds are we going to be? Okay, so Brad bet 25 birds. Ben bet 21 birds. Brandon also bet 25 birds. Isla bet 72 birds.
That's a lot of
I'm
birds.
crazy.
And I bet 17 birds. Now, before I wrote this bet, I asked Huber how long it took to get to the time jump, and he told me 6 to 10 minutes.
Like if you're, because context, I didn't know what the bet was. The history of bets has usually been about like, yo, just go through the part like as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible. So in my head, I'm like, all right, if you just go through, it'll be like 10 minutes.
See, this was
You don't
my
stop to explore. You just go through it.
You
I'm
would play it
sensing-
naturally, but whatever.
I'm sensing from Blood's tone that it was much longer than that, and this was my logic, that I was like, Huber...
Well, Blood, that's definitely Blood's style.
Yeah.
He's a game soaker.
Yeah. Well, and also Huber, like, you know, he'll tell you something in 6 minutes when it was like 2 hours because it felt like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the clips from Huber's review ended up taking about half an hour. In any case, I watched through and counted all the birds. Most of them, there was that thing where like there's the flutter sound and bird scatter.
Yeah.
There was like one crow on a roof at one point.
That sounds like a lot.
But yes, overall there were 19 instances when birds appeared, and a total of 87 birds.
Whoa!
Is that an Isla win?
That's an Isla win. Once again,
Bird bet?
Hooey!
bringing the massive chubs to 8. Splish!
Fish.
And the malodorous sea lions to 7.
Close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fight.
It is close.
Yeah.
We got a match.
We got a match.
We got a match.
over bets that I feel like I'm just throwing numbers in the wind.
Just throw it out there.
I'm at a casino, dude.
Let me tell you about patreon.com/easyallies. Patreon is how everything that we do is funded. We are partnered with our fans who are generous enough to give us the support to keep making this podcast, to keep making our reviews, and everything else that we do, from group streams to crazy bets and preview coverage, all of that. And we've recently brought back goals, so go check that out on the Patreon. The next goal up is the $35,000 goal per month, and we do that. We'll be doing hangout streams every weekday. Right now we're doing them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They've been a fun time, but if we hit that goal, we'll get up there. And then
We're almost there. Help us hit it. We're almost there.
And then the 40,000 is kind of like the base operating expenses. It's like that's really where we should be. We've cut back on things, and 40K is where we're trying to get back to for us to just be able to keep everything running for the long term. And if you become a patron, you get access to this podcast with 2 extra love and respect questions, and you get to watch it ad-free. And then if you become a $5 patron, you get to submit to Love and Respect, and you also get this on Friday instead of Sunday.
And you'll get in on the Discord once we set that
Yeah,
up.
we got
which
a
will
Discord
be
coming up too.
Coming up when we hire the community manager, which is hopefully soon.
And then at our top level tiers, 250 and above, we have shout outs for this podcast. And this month's shout outs are Jabboabs, El Thanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, Caleb Togi Crawford, Nick, and Anna Croth. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout
Sorry, I
out.
was late there.
Wow.
Counts. Count it.
Isla,
Hi.
you won this week's bet. You get to promote any Easy Allies video you'd like to promote. You get the final word on anything you've disagreed with, want to reiterate, or just popped into your head. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign off.
Thank you so much, Bloodworth. I just want to thank you all for joining us here for this podcast. Please watch everything, every video that we've ever put up. Just go through them in reverse chronological order. Watch them all. My final thought is that every game from my youth was a sexual awakening.
Zork?
Zork Nemesis gets hot. Good night and good game. If only we had an employee who was into soulless, hyper-repetitive mobile games